I am a dance instructor, was lauded by her husband as unparalleled in the world. However, ever since he journeyed overseas, I could no longer endure the solitude. One night, having just showered, changed, and laid down on the bed, the phone screen kept flickering incessantly. A deluge of messages streamed in. Sister, your peach-shaped rear is simply irresistible. Have you ever felt a man's firm abdominal muscles? These teasing words were accompanied by several selfies. Some were close-up frontal shots. Some were mirror selfies. Each one exuded a potent masculine hormone. When I scrolled to the last one, my throat involuntarily quivered slightly, gently swallowed a mouthful of saliva. The owner of these photos was named Wang Gang. Our encounter was like a script meticulously crafted by fate. After my husband left China, the swimming pool became my constant haunt. One day, while swimming, my anklet accidentally dropped off. It so happened that Wang Gang picked it up for me. The two chatted by the pool. I discovered that he was the ex-boyfriend of one of my schoolmates. So naturally, we added each other on WeChat. At that time, I had a premonition in my heart. Perhaps one day I would spend the Spring Festival with him. Although I have only had intimate contact with my husband since getting married, but I didn't reject this possibility. I said to myself, if everything happens, I'll accept it. If it doesn't, there's no need to force it. Since then, in the online realm, we were a pair chatting and getting to know each other, but tacitly maintained a delicate distance. It was as if whoever broke the silence first lost the game. Until one day last month, Wang Gang suddenly asked me about a small plaque with the word socks engraved on the anklet. What did it signify? I bashfully explained that it was customized for me by my husband. The topic naturally transited to a more private domain. I was very pleased with the smooth conversation and the turn. Presumably, Wang Gang felt the same way. He offered to take a closer look at my anklet. I took a picture of my ankle and sent it to him. Unexpectedly, he replied directly with a video. The deep voice was brimming with praise. Sister, you are so beautiful. These feet are so captivating. Has anyone ever tenderly kissed them? At that moment, I felt as if I was being hypnotized. My thoughts were groggy, but I felt relieved. There was a sour sensation round my waist. The longing for a man's embrace rose spontaneously. Under his repeated pleadings, it was as if I had lost control of my desires. Slowly lifted the neckline of the nightdress. Let him catch a glimpse of the rest of my body. That night, I betrayed my marriage on a spiritual level. Chastity was lost in the vortex of desire. The next day, Wang Gang proposed a meeting. I didn't respond, but he knew that he was on the verge of breakdown. Perhaps, in the next sleepless night, I would take the initiative to invite him to spend time with me. For instance, in TV dramas, lonely housewives take advantage of their husband's absence to have clandestine rendezvous. The impasse persisted for half a month until Wang Gang invited me to pretend to be his girlfriend to attend a friend's party. Initially, I firmly refused, but after all, I couldn't resist his sweet talk, especially when he mentioned that there would be many handsome guys present. I hesitated but ultimately nodded in agreement. To make Wang Gang gain more face in front of his friends, I carefully chose a tight short skirt. determined to showcase my graceful posture to the fullest. However, standing in front of the mirror and trying it on repeatedly, I always felt that it lacked sexiness. Until I changed into a miniskirt and paired it with a thong, it dawned on me that this was the style I was seeking. I was dressed in diaphanous clothing, carefully ensuring no spring was exposed, rushed to the party. Wang Gang was already waiting at the door. When he saw me, there was a look of astonishment in his eyes. I rejoiced inwardly. It seemed that my elaborate grooming was not in vain. Although I had mentally prepared to have a pleasant night with Wang Gang, I never intended to seduce his friends. However, when I took his arm and walked into the box, the scene shook me. It was exactly as he had described. His friends were all handsome. "Sister, you are so beautiful." Wang Gang said he would bring his girlfriend, but we still didn't believe it. Looking at it now, it's just a stroke of luck. They welcomed me warmly. The table was filled with wine glasses. As a regular, I knew the unspoken rules of nightclubs. Never drink from a stranger's glass, even if it's out of sight for a short while. When you return, you have to change the cup to prevent being drugged. Wang Gang saw my concerns, took the initiative to pick up the wine glass in front of me and drank it all. Then I went to the bar and made cocktails for me. Seeing that he was fine, my inner defenses gradually crumbled, began taking small sips of that wine. The nightclub music started and the dance show began. I jumped onto the dance floor and let loose. Wang Gang hugged me tightly into his arms. The hand on my back quietly slid down to my waist, intending to continue exploring. I looked down and felt his hot breath. There was a hint of enjoyment in my heart. This was my 59th night apart from my man. Desire grew like wild grass. At this point, I noticed a wave of heat surging within my body, especially in the lower abdomen. Even the slightest rubbing of the clothing against the skin made my heart race. Oh no, was there something wrong with the wine? I quickly reviewed. Since my arrival, after only one drink of the cocktail handed over by Wang Gang, doubts were temporarily dispelled. At this moment, Wang Gang's friends had joined the dance floor. They took turns toasting me, and I gulped them down. Wang Gang smiled and said, "My sister's way of chugging the bottle is truly charming. It's like being adored by a man." He said that. I realized that I had lost my composure, but the vanity of being surrounded by this group of handsome guys made me increasingly flustered. I danced crazily and flaunted my charm. Reason was gradually being drowned out. When I ran out of energy, I collapsed into the arms of Wang Gang and his friends. They had strong muscles and were more powerful than my husband. I couldn't help but inhale deeply a strong masculine scent. It instantly threw my brain into chaos. Driven by alcohol, I completely lost myself. At some point, I was picked up, placed in a soft spot. Half asleep and half awake, I felt a chill on my body. Someone seemed to be undressing me. I struggled to open my eyes. Above was a huge mirror. In the mirror, I was tied to the bed with my limbs, naked in the shape of a big figure. What was even more alarming, 5 burly men, also naked, surrounded me. I struggled to get up but was taunted by Wang Gang. "What's the matter with the door being closed? Isn't it good for everyone to be honest with each other?" I was furious. Immediately picked up the porcelain vase on the sink, smashed Wang Gang's head with all my might. before anyone else could react. I did my best to unlock the door, screaming and rushing out of the room. Fortunately, my cries for help attracted attention. They came to my aid promptly, notified the front desk security to stop Wang Gan and others who attempted to escape. Subsequently, we were sent to the Public Security Bureau. When I woke up, I had a splitting headache. The police officer handed over honey water and patiently reassured me. We were taken into the interrogation room separately for questioning. I recounted what happened that night. After that, we were summoned to a large conference room. Sitting opposite were Wang Gan and 4 other men. Wang Gan quibbled that everything was consensual. I angrily slapped the table. What are you talking about? I was clearly drunk. When did I give my consent? Just to take me to a hotel room, he retorted. You yourself know you were drunk. I also said that I wanted a man. How could I refuse? I was stunned, tried to remember if I had really said such a thing. I insisted on a blood test. I firmly believed that there was a problem with the wine that Wang Gan gave me. When he heard this, his face changed abruptly, and he was speechless. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I left the Public Security Bureau. The blood test results showed Wang Gan and others had committed misdeeds against me. They were immediately transferred to a detention center. That night, I sat alone at home, tossing and turning. Nightmares repeated. A month later, my husband returned to China. I had envisioned countless reunion scenarios. He might affectionately say that he missed me. Maybe he would care about me. He might even notice some clues, trigger a quarrel. However, I never expected that. As soon as he walked in the door, he threw me a divorce agreement. What did you do during my absence? I know everything. There is no room for negotiation. He said indifferently that he planned to divide 80% of the property. Also claimed that this was a mercy to me. Otherwise, I would be left with nothing. I froze, tears streaming down my hand, crumpled the divorce deed in it. After the divorce, I moved out of my familiar home, began a single life. Wang Gan has been sentenced. The years pass, and a year goes by. I have always believed that this marriage, the breakdown was all my fault. Until one day, my girlfriend came to me with a serious expression, told me that she saw my ex-husband. There was also a woman by his side. I was astonished but quickly regained my composure. It's been 2 years. He can't always live in the past, can he? If that's the case, I wonder if he's ill. The girlfriend shook her head, told me the key wasn't that he had a new love. It was the woman I knew. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through an old photo. I carefully discerned it. It was a group photo of several senior schoolmates before graduating from college. It dawned on me. The woman my best friend mentioned was Wang Gan's ex-girlfriend. It was also the culprit that led me to cheat. It turned out that all of this was premeditated.